You have been told that enlightenment is a distant goal, a reward for a lifetime of seeking, and this is the very illusion that has held you in bondage. You look for peace, for power, for God in the outside world, in books, in teachers, in experiences, always seeking there for what can only be found here. I tell you now that every moment you spend seeking truth outside yourself is a moment spent losing it. The kingdom of heaven is not low here or low there. It is within, and your frantic searching has only obscured its ever-present reality. There is a way, not of seeking, but of a profound and radical turning within. It begins not with adding to your knowledge, but with a simple, relentless question that you must pose to yourself until it shatters the world you think you know. This is the great pivot upon which your entire spiritual life turns. In the moments to come, we shall uncover the nature of this inner inquiry, this sacred key that does not open a door to some far-off light, but reveals the light that you yourself already are. For your entire life, you have been conditioned to believe that the answer to your sense of lack, your longing for peace, your thirst for something more, lies outside of your own being. You have been taught to seek. From the earliest age, you sought approval from a parent, good grades from a teacher, recognition from the world. And now, as a spiritual aspirant, you have simply transferred this same seeking mechanism to a new realm. You seek God in a church, a temple, or a mosque. You seek truth in the words of a guru or the pages of a sacred text. You seek enlightenment through a specific meditation technique, a weekend workshop, or a pilgrimage to a distant land. This is the grand and pervasive illusion, the belief that what you are, what you need to become whole, exists anywhere other than where you are at this very moment. Consider the simple, daily evidence of this. You feel a stirring of anxiety, a sense of unease. What is your immediate, automatic response? You reach for your phone to scroll through a feed. You turn on the television. You call a friend to talk. You plan a vacation. You seek a distraction, a solution, an escape from the discomfort you feel inside. The entire structure of your life is built upon this principle of outward movement. You are like a man standing in a vast, fertile field, dying of thirst, yet convinced that water can only be found in a cloud on the horizon. So you spend your life running after clouds, while the wellspring at your feet remains untapped. This external seeking is not merely a mistake. It is the very activity that perpetuates the sense of separation you are trying to overcome. Every time you look to a teacher to give you truth, you are implicitly affirming that you do not possess it. Every time you believe a new technique will bring you peace, you are reinforcing the idea that peace is not your native state. You are seeking for a key to a door that is already open, all the while holding the key in your own hand. The frantic search itself creates the noise that drowns out the silent, ever-present hum of your own being. Think of the last time you lost something truly valuable, a set of keys, perhaps. You ransack the house, your pockets, your car. Panic rises. Your mind races through every possibility. The more you search, the more frantic you become. Then, exhausted, you finally sit down. You stop the frantic motion. And in that moment of stillness, the memory of where you placed them returns with perfect clarity. They were in the coat you had already checked twice. The problem was not that the keys were impossibly lost. The problem was the anxiety and the frenzy of the search that blinded you to the obvious. Your spiritual search is precisely the same. You are ransacking the universe for a truth that was never lost, only overlooked because of the commotion you yourself are generating. This outward movement is a subtle form of rejection. It is a rejection of the present moment, a rejection of your own immediate experience, a rejection of the consciousness that is reading these very words. You are saying, in effect, this here, this now, this I, that I am, is not enough. I must become something else somewhere else. And so you postpone your realization. You set up a future event, an attainment, an experience, a state of consciousness as the prerequisite for your peace. You live in a state of perpetual preparation, waiting for a sign, a feeling, a flash of light that will signal your arrival. But I tell you, the kingdom of heaven, the conscious union with the infinite, is not a destination at the end of a long journey. It is the very ground upon which you are now standing. It is the awareness that is aware of your seeking. It is the silence behind your thoughts. It is the presence that animates your body. To see this is to initiate the greatest revolution in your life. It is to turn the entire mechanism of consciousness inward, not as a new seeking, but as a profound and radical uncovering. It is to cease all movement toward a projected future and to stand completely and unreservedly in the palpable reality of the eternal now. The search is over, not because you have found the object you were looking for, but because you have awakened to the glorious and shocking truth that you were never the seeker to begin with. You are that which you sought. The entire cosmos, with all its teachers and its texts, its mountains and its rivers, exists within you as you. To look for it elsewhere is the only error, and the abandonment of that error is the beginning of wisdom. This recognition that what you seek is not external, that it cannot be found in any object, person, or future achievement, brings us to the very heart of the message: the kingdom of heaven is within. Do not let the familiarity of these words dull their radical, world-shattering implication. This is not a poetic sentiment or a vague philosophical concept. It is a concrete, verifiable fact of your existence, as tangible as your own breath, once you know where to look. The error has been in the direction of your gaze. You have been looking for a sacred kingdom in a physical location, for a divine being with a human form, for a peace that is dependent on external circumstances aligning to your liking. All of this is looking in the wrong dimension. Consider the most fundamental experiences of your life. Where does joy truly reside? You may say a beautiful sunset brings you joy, but is the joy in the sunset itself? If it were, then every person witnessing that same sunset would experience the identical quality and depth of joy, which they do not. The sunset is merely the occasion, the trigger. The joy itself is an internal response, a rising of a feeling from within your own consciousness. The same is true of love. You may believe you find love in another person, but the profound connection, the warmth, the sense of union, these are not external objects you can hold in your hand. They are movements within your own being, capacities of your own heart. The other person has simply become the focal point that allows this inherent capacity within you to flow forth. You are the source of the very love you feel. This principle extends to the most sought after spiritual states. You pray for peace, but what is peace? Is it the absence of traffic noise, the conclusion of a conflict at work, a quiet house? No. These are, again, external conditions. True peace is an inner atmosphere, a quality of your own awareness that can exist independent of any external circumstance. You can be in the midst of a roaring storm, both in the world and in your life, and yet have a center that is utterly still and undisturbed. That stillness is not manufactured by the world. It is revealed when the world's turbulence is recognized as separate from the silent witness that you are. The kingdom of heaven is this inner realm, this foundational consciousness from which all your experiences of joy, love, peace, and even their opposites arise and into which they subside. Think of your mind as a vast, deep lake. The surface of the lake is constantly churned by the winds of daily events, worries, desires, fears, and sensations. These are the waves. You have spent your entire life identifying with these surface waves, believing you are the anxiety, the anger, the fleeting pleasure. You have been trying to calm the storm by manipulating the wind, by rearranging the external events that are causing the waves. This is a futile struggle, for the winds will always blow. The kingdom of heaven is not a calm surface. It is the profound, imperturbable depths of the lake itself. The depths are always still, silent, and unmoved, regardless of the tempest raging on the surface. Your spiritual work is not to stop the winds, but to sink your identity from the turbulent surface waves into the silent, depthless depths of your own being. This is why all external seeking is a diversion. It is an attempt to control the weather on the surface while remaining ignorant of the vast, tranquil ocean beneath. When you turn within, you are not engaging in a form of selfish introspection or escapism. You are, for the first time, approaching the very source of your experience. You are moving from the periphery, the world of effects, to the center, the world of cause. You are shifting your identity from the content of your consciousness to the container, the pure awareness that holds all content. This within is not a physical location inside your body. It is a dimension of reality, a state of consciousness. It is the I am that precedes every other thought, the sense of being that was present when you were a child, that is with you now, and that will be the fundamental fact of your existence in your final moment. It is the one constant in a lifetime of change. To turn your attention to this, to abide here, to inquire into its nature, This is to enter the kingdom. It has been here all along, waiting not for you to find it, but for you to realize you have never, ever left it. To understand that the kingdom is within is one thing, but to actually make the turn from seeking to uncovering requires a profound pivot in the very axis of your consciousness. This is not merely an intellectual agreement, it is a complete and total reorientation of your life's energy. Up until this moment, your entire spiritual endeavor, like every other endeavor in your life, has been an act of accumulation. You have been trying to get, to achieve, to become. You have been adding practices, adding beliefs, adding knowledge, adding experiences, all in the hope that this pile of accumulated spirituality would one day reach a critical mass and reveal the truth to you. This is the way of the world, and it has been your way. But I tell you, the truth is not something you acquire, it is something you unveil. It is not a matter of addition, but of subtraction. It is not about becoming something new, but about ceasing to be what you are not. This pivot is the most critical and often the most misunderstood transition on the path. It is the shift from being a spiritual consumer to becoming a spiritual pioneer, not of new lands, but of the uncharted territory of your own self. Think of it this way: you have spent a lifetime collecting maps. You have maps from every tradition, every teacher, every book. You study them, you compare them, you argue over their details. You believe that if you can just find the one true map, it will lead you to the treasure. But the pivot is the shocking realization that you are not a traveler who needs a map. You are the treasure itself, and all the searching with maps has only been a way of moving farther away from the spot where you have always been standing. The pivot is the moment you drop all the maps and finally look down at your own feet. This is not a passive state. It is not a quiet resignation. It is the most active, dynamic, and demanding engagement you will ever undertake. It is the activity of non-activity. It is the work of no work. It is the effort required to cease all efforting. You can observe this principle in your own body. Consider the simple act of falling asleep. You cannot force sleep to happen. The more you try, the more you tense your body and mind, the more elusive sleep becomes. Yet, when you release the striving, when you let go of the attempt and simply rest in the bed, surrendering all control, sleep naturally and effortlessly overtakes you. The pivot in consciousness is similar. It is a letting go of the mental and spiritual striving, a relinquishing of the controller who is trying to orchestrate its own enlightenment. It is a surrender into the being that you already are. This is where your daily life becomes your monastery. The pivot is not made once in a meditation hall and then forgotten. It must be made anew in every moment, in every circumstance. You are in a tense meeting at work, and your old habit is to seek victory, to defend your position, to accumulate validation. The pivot is to turn from that external battle and to ask, who is the one who is tense? What is this that feels threatened? You are caught in traffic, late for an appointment, and the frustration builds. The old pattern is to seek a faster route, to curse the other drivers, to live in the frustration. The pivot is to turn from the traffic and to inquire, what is this I that is frustrated? Where does this sense of urgency truly reside? In every instance of fear, desire, or anger, the opportunity for the pivot presents itself. The emotion, the thought, the sensation is not the enemy to be destroyed. It is the very signpost, the very arrow, pointing you back inward, back to the source from which it arose. This turning within is not an analysis. It is not a psychological dissection of why you feel what you feel. That would be just another form of seeking, another map. This is a direct looking, a simple, naked attention placed upon the sense of I-ness itself before it gets tangled in any story or emotion. You feel anxiety. Instead of following the thought stream about what might happen, you pivot. You feel the anxiety as a sensation in the body, but you simultaneously turn your attention to the space in which this sensation is appearing. You feel the thought as a movement, but you turn to the aware stillness that is aware of the movement. You are not trying to change the anxiety. You are changing the direction of your attention from the object of experience to the subject, the experiencer. And in that pivot, a miraculous thing occurs. The solidity of the anxiety, its power to define you, begins to soften. It is seen. And in being seen by a consciousness that is vaster than it is robbed of its ultimate authority. You are no longer the anxious person. You are the awareness in which anxiety is temporarily passing through. This is the great uncovering. It is the continuous moment-to-moment activity of recognizing your true nature not as the content of your life, but as the context for it. It is the end of seeking, because you have realized you are the goal itself, and the journey was only ever an illusion created by looking in the wrong direction. This pivot from seeking to uncovering is not sustained by a single moment of insight, but is made living and permanent through a specific, focused activity. This activity is the practice of relentless self-inquiry. It is the sacred key that turns the lock, not by force, but by a profound and gentle persistence. Do not mistake this for an intellectual exercise or a form of self-interrogation that seeks a philosophical answer. This is not about finding the right words to define your soul. It is about using a question as a sword to cut through the layers of identity that you have mistaken for yourself, to pierce the veil of the known and to stand naked and awake in the reality of the unknown. The question is deceptively simple, yet it contains the power to dismantle your entire world. Who am I? Or, more precisely, what is this I? You use this word, I 1,000 times a day. I am tired. I am successful. I am afraid. I am a seeker. Each time, you attach this sense of being, this I, to a temporary condition, a passing thought, a fleeting emotion. You have become so identified with these attachments that you believe you are them. The practice of self-inquiry is the deliberate and conscious withdrawal of this identification. It is the act of taking this I back from every object, every thought, and every feeling to which you have lent it. Begin where you are, in the raw material of your daily life. A wave of anger arises in a disagreement. The old unconscious response is to have become the anger. You shout, you stew, you justify, you are consumed by the fire. But now you introduce the tool of inquiry. In the midst of the heat, you pause, not to suppress the feeling, but to look directly at it. You feel the tension in your jaw, the flush in your skin, the storm in your mind. And then you turn the light of awareness upon the one who is experiencing this. You silently ask, who is angry? Do not answer with a story. Do not say, I am angry because he insulted me. That is just more fuel on the fire. The inquiry is not about the cause of the anger, but about the very nature of the I that claims it. Is the anger you? Is this tight, burning sensation your fundamental self? Or is it a temporary cloud passing through the vast sky of your awareness? You wake in the night, gripped by a primal fear. The mind spins tales of financial ruin, of illness, of loss. The body is rigid with dread. This is not a time for affirmation or positive thinking. Such things are mere decorations on the surface. This is the time for the most radical surgery. In that darkness, you ask, what is this I that is afraid? You feel the fear. You acknowledge its presence completely, but you refuse to grant it the final title of your identity. You look for the center of the fear, the one who owns it. You cannot find a solid thing called fearful I. You find only the fear itself and the awareness that is witnessing it. The fear may not vanish instantly, but something crucial has shifted. It is no longer, I am fear, but fear is happening. You have created a sacred space between your true self and the phenomenon. This practice must be relentless because the habit of misidentification is relentless. It is not a technique you practice for 20 minutes each morning. It is a continuous thread of attention you weave through the entire tapestry of your day. You are stuck in traffic. Who is impatient? You receive a compliment? Who is flattered? You are working on a project? Who is the door? Each question is a gentle tug on the rope, pulling your identity back from the periphery and toward the center. It is a process of unlearning, of discarding every false answer you have ever been given about who you are. You are not your profession. You are not your body. You are not your accomplishments. You are not your failures. You are not even your spiritual experiences. Every single thing that can be observed, every thought, every sensation, every memory, every high state of consciousness cannot be you, for you are the one who is observing it. The power of this inquiry lies in its ability to dissolve the questioner itself. Initially, you feel like a separate I asking a question about itself. But as you persist, as you peel away the layers of the onion, you find there is no final, solid core to be discovered. What remains is not an answer, but a living, breathing, silent mystery. The sense of a separate, seeking self simply falls away, and what is revealed in its absence is the very reality you were seeking all along, the boundless, impersonal, eternal presence of pure being. This is not a theory to be believed. It is a country to be inhabited. and the only passport required is this one simple, relentless question: who am I? Ask it until you are no longer there to ask it. As this relentless inquiry continues, as you persistently withdraw the I from every thought, emotion, and sensation, a profound and inevitable disruption begins to occur. The world you have taken for granted, the solid, predictable reality you have built your life upon, starts to lose its foundation. This is not a gentle adjustment, it is a shattering. The practice of self-inquiry is not a path of self-improvement, but a path of demolition. It does not build a better you, it dismantles the illusion of you entirely, revealing the luminous reality that was always hidden in plain sight. This shattering occurs because you are no longer validating the dream with your belief. Your entire experience of life has been a complex, self-reinforcing dream, a narrative spun from a web of thoughts, memories, and sensations, all centered around a central character, the separate self. You believed in this character. You invested in its dramas, its triumphs, and its tragedies. You thought the dream was real, but now, by constantly asking, who am I? You have stepped out of the role. You are no longer fully identified with the protagonist. You have become, simultaneously, the actor on the stage and the aware consciousness watching the play from the silent darkness of the audience. This split in attention breaks the spell. You can see this process begin in small, everyday moments. You are in the middle of an argument, your voice raised, your heart pounding, completely entangled in the story of being wronged. Then, for a fleeting instant, the question arises from a place deeper than the anger. Who is this that is arguing? In that instant, the solidity of the conflict fractures. The personal outrage, which felt so justified and absolute a moment before, is suddenly revealed as a pattern, a reaction, a storm in the psychic atmosphere. It doesn't necessarily vanish, but its reality is relativized. It is no longer the ultimate truth of the moment. The dream of being an injured party has been punctured by a pinprick of awareness, and the air begins to hiss out. This extends to every facet of the world you thought you knew. The object you desire, a new car, a relationship, a status symbol, shines with a captivating light. You feel a pull, a sense that acquiring it will complete you. This is the dream of fulfillment through externals. Then the inquiry touches it. Who is the one who desires this? You look not at the object, but at the feeling of lack within that makes the object seem so luminous. You see the emptiness, the transient nature of the craving itself. The object does not necessarily lose its practical value, but its hypnotic salvation, promising glow fades. The dream of fulfillment through things is shattered. Even your most cherished spiritual concepts are not spared. You have a profound meditation, a moment of blissful peace, a vision of light. The mind immediately wants to claim it. I am enlightened. I have attained a high state. This is the most subtle and seductive dream of all, the dream of being a spiritually advanced self. The inquiry must be applied here most ruthlessly. Who is the one who had this experience? Who is the claimer of this state? You look, and you find only the memory of the experience and the awareness present now. The experience itself, however beautiful, is seen as a passing phenomenon, an object in consciousness, not the subject itself. The dream of being a successful spiritual seeker is shattered. This is a period that can feel like disorientation, even like a kind of death. The familiar landmarks of your identity are crumbling. The goals that once drove you forward seem empty. The problems that once consumed you seem insubstantial. You are in the liminal space between the dream you have left and the reality you have not yet fully inhabited. It is like waking up from a deep sleep in a dark, unfamiliar room. For a moment, you do not know where you are. The furniture of your old life is still there, but you are no longer sure what it is or what it means. This is not a mistake or a failure. It is the surest sign that the practice is working. The demolition crew is on site, and the old, unstable structure is coming down. It is unsettling because you have mistaken the structure for yourself. But the shattering of the world of illusion is not your destruction. It is your liberation from a prison you no longer see, a prison whose only walls were your own unquestioned thoughts. The silence that rushes in as the noise of your personal story subsides is not empty. It is vibrant, intelligent, and alive. It is the sound of your true nature beginning to resonate in the space that has been cleared. And so, as the world of illusion shatters, as the noise of the personal story subsides into a profound and vibrant silence, what remains? It is not a void, not a blank nothingness. It is a presence, a conscious, luminous awareness that was previously obscured by the very activity of the seeker. This is the final realization, the ultimate uncovering. You are not a person who will one day become enlightened. You are the light itself. The sense of a separate, individual self, with its history and its hopes, is seen for what it always was, a temporary constellation of thoughts and sensations appearing within this vast, impersonal, and eternal light of pure being. You are not a wave struggling to become the ocean. You are the ocean mistakenly believing itself to be a single, isolated wave. This is not a metaphysical abstraction. It is the most practical and immediate truth, waiting to be recognized in the simplest moments of your day. Consider the experience of awe when you gaze at a star-filled night sky. In that moment, what happens? The petty worries, the mental chatter, the constant sense of me and my problems recedes. For a breathtaking instant, it is gone. What remains is a vast, silent wonder. You are not thinking about the sky. You are one with the experience of it. The separate self has vanished, and in its absence, there is only the awe itself, the majesty, the boundless expanse. You have not become the stars, but the sense of a solid, separate you looking at them has dissolved. In that dissolution, what you are is the conscious space in which the entire magnificent spectacle is unfolding. This is a glimpse of your true nature, not as the observer of the universe, but as the awareness in which both the observer and the observed arise. This light that you are does not come and go. It is the constant, the one invariable factor in every changing experience. Think of a movie projector. It shines a brilliant white light. That light is constant, unwavering. Upon that light, film is projected, creating a world of drama, action, joy, and sorrow. You have spent your entire life completely absorbed in the movie, identifying with the characters, believing their struggles to be real. You have been chasing some scenes and fleeing from others, all the while oblivious to the projector's steady, silent light that makes the entire show possible. Your thoughts, your emotions, your life story, this is the film. The light is the pure consciousness that you are. The practice of self. Inquiry is the process of turning your attention away from the dramatic images on the screen and back toward the source of the light itself. And when you do, you make the astonishing discovery you are not the character in the movie. You are the light. The character was just a temporary pattern imposed upon your eternal radiance. This realization transforms everything, yet it changes nothing in the outer world. You will still go to work, pay your bills, and interact with others. The body and mind will continue to function with their unique personality and tendencies. But the central reference point has shifted irrevocably. Before, life was a story happening to you. Now, it is recognized as an expression happening through you. A thought of fear arises. It is not my fear. It is simply a ripple in the mind witnessed by the light. A moment of joy blossoms. It is not my joy to be clung to. It is a warm color appearing on the screen, appreciated but not mistaken for the source. The personal drama has ended, not because life has become perfect, but because the one who was the star of the drama is no longer there. What functions in the world is a kind of intelligent, compassionate emptiness, a clear channel through which life lives itself, free from the distortion of a central, controlling I. You look at your own hand. Before, it was unquestionably my hand. Now, it is seen as a manifestation of life, a temporary form appearing in and as the consciousness that you are. You listen to a bird sing. The sound is not happening out there to be received by a separate you in here. The hearing and the sound are one seamless event, occurring within the boundless space of your aware presence. This is the final secret, the end of the search. You are not in the world is in you. The body, the mind, the trees, the stars, all are modulations of the one, single, indivisible light of awareness. And that light, that silent, ever present, unconditioned consciousness is what you have always been. To realize this is not to gain something new. It is to finally come home to what you have never, for a single moment, ever left.